I care way more about what people perceive me to be than I thought. I care way more about how people perceive me than I thought. I actually care a lot about how people perceive me, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that prevents me from making and publishing art. The other thing that I do is I don't. I fucking blanked, of course. Making these videos is actually really hard. I feel like if I don't script them out, I just go blank and I can't really talk, and it takes me 3 takes to make a video versus a essay where I can just fine tune every little point. So bear with me, but I think I want to get better at this format because I don't really like editing that much. But anywho, I just want to talk about my flaws artistically today because I think it's about time I confronted my flaws, because I've realized that over the past 2 months I just have not put out barely anything. Something's always stopped me from publishing a song or finishing a game or reaching out to people to collaborate with. And that's really hard. That's really tough on the mental faculties, so I just wanted to talk about it. Just to get my words out there, Anyway, yeah, I think I care a lot about how people perceive me. And one of the signs of that is like if I make an Instagram post, I care a lot. Because Instagram is one of the first social media platforms that I got. I got it in 4th grade when I was really young, and it had just come out around then, so I had Instagram back then, and of course I added all my school friends from that year. I added all my school friends, and so by junior high, and definitely by high school, I had, hundreds of my peers as friends on Instagram. And I posted a lot of stuff, sometimes I posted pictures of myself, sometimes I posted pictures of my vacations. It became kind of a creative outlet at some point because I started posting visual effect edits that I learned from watching Captain Dissolution and playing around with After Effects. And I started, posting those. And then I just posted pictures of beans for a while. And it was great. I thought that was all fun. And I think I got a positive reaction from people. But then I realized that some of my friends, more like my peers, some of my peers were unfollowing me. Probably because I was spamming bean posts. Understandable, they don't want to see that in their feed, but for some reason that hit me. It was oh, people are unfollowing me. And that just that hit me way too personally, way more personally than it should. If I had a stronger whatever, if what I perceive as more strong, if I wasn't as sensitive, I probably would have just said, screw them. If they don't want to follow me, then I don't want them as followers. That side of myself, I wish I could bring that out more. But the truth is, when someone unfollows me or when someone comments something bad, or someone tells me in real life, what's up with all the beans? I kind of get a negative reaction to that. And it makes me not want to do art, which sucks. Because the point of art, in my mind, is to get people talking, to get a reaction from people. Because good art does that. Good art does that with me. Even though I have movies that I don't like, I still really appreciate them. Because it made me realize what I don't like about the movie, and it made me realize how I feel. And it improved my perspective on the topic. Even though I didn't like the movie and the way it presented it, it got me thinking, and it made me dig deeper into the subject. So even if I make bad art, what's the problem, what should be the problem? Okay, someone doesn't like my art. That doesn't reflect on me. But I feel like it does. I remember when I was just starting posting on YouTube. I was even younger at this time. This was before Instagram. I was posting the most childish stuff. I would phone record Angry Birds on my iPad, and I remember doing a video of Angry Birds Secret, press down when you have the red bird in the air and it makes a caw noise. Caw! That was kind of funny. So I uploaded that to YouTube. Yeah, well, I got like a lot of hate for that because at the time, people on YouTube was like people who are isolated from society and who hate others and are just not having a good time. At least the people who comment on YouTube at the time. And they would just hate on it. Like, I remember them, people like, commenting like, stupid, you're stupid. Everyone knows that is a thing, like just on my innocent little Angry Birds video. And that just hit me right in the face. And I showed my dad and he was like, because I was a kid at the time, and I showed my dad and he was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. How could people say that stuff? I appreciated my dad, showing some support there. But the truth is, it really did hit me. I was making other videos at the time. I made domino videos. It was like a thing on early YouTube that got millions of views, where people would make like, long rows of colored dominoes, and then they would hit it and it would all fall down in the most beautiful way. So I made those with, a pack of 200 dominoes that I had. And some of them were bad, but it was fun. I loved doing it. I would come home from school and that would be what I did. I made videos. And I was just a kid. But tragically, I don't remember what the reception was with those videos. I don't remember if people liked them or not. But tragically, at one point, I rewatched some of those videos when I was older, and I just became so embarrassed because they were so bad. And so I just completely deleted them all. I deleted them. I didn't even private them. I deleted those videos. And I didn't have my computer at some point, so those videos are now deleted forever. I don't never get to watch them again. And even the fact that I did that gets to me. It's like, oh my God, why did you delete those videos? Those videos are history. Those are the first videos I ever made, as a kid. And so that gets to me. And then it's like, so I don't know, it just becomes demoralizing. I think that was kind of my first experiences with this emotion. What is this emotion? I don't know. It's doubt. It's feeling that you're not good enough to make good art, to make art at all. And I don't know. I think that's kind of why I've stuck to making like later when I did Laggy McStab, I did a YouTube channel where I did graphics settings in video games, and I talked about graphics in video games. I talked about, I tested video games to see all this different stuff. Just going right out there and saying it. I was pretty much copying 3 Clicks Philip, another YouTube channel. He did mainly Counter-Strike, and so I was like, oh, I could do his content, but I could do it for Team Fortress 2, because he doesn't play Team Fortress 2 and other video games. So that's what I did. I was basically copying his videos, and I did very little research of my own, other than all the editing and all the screenshots of the videos. I did all that myself, but it was not an original idea. And so looking back on that now, even though those videos got really successful, some of them have hundreds of thousands of views, they were successful, but I stopped at some point because I felt like fraud. I felt like I wasn't doing my own work. It's ironic. If it's like I do my own work and then I feel like it's not good enough, and then I'd be a copycat, and that works great somehow, yet I feel like a fraud. The two paths, they both lead me to mental turmoil. I did a lot of covers on YouTube. I did a lot of music covers when I did music. I stopped posting on Laggy McStab at some point. And then I did music covers. I started with hers. What did I do? I did mainly hers. I did hers covers, and I was really good at it. Some of those videos, they also got successful. I think one of them probably has 100,000 views by now. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I think it's my covers and my copying videos, the stuff that isn't completely originally my own, it's really easy to like get that to the point where you think it's good because the song has already been written, because the script has already been written. You just got to follow the script, and you just got to get it to sound as close as possible to the original, at least with music. Got to get it to sound close as possible to the original. Maybe you can put your own little spin on it. And then you have a cover video, and it's usually good. That is a problem when it comes to art, or like more original art, because as soon as I, tried to write my own songs, I realized like, oh, this is actually really hard. It's way different than writing a cover song because you don't get a script. You don't get to just follow directions. Good original art is more about play. It's like it comes completely naturally without you thinking about it. In a state of play, boom, you make original art. That's some of the best songs I've ever made. I made a song called Space that I think I made the beat and then completely forgot about it, and I was just going through my Ableton files for like a couple months later, and then I found the beat, and it was basically a song right there, all flushed out. And I was like, what? When did I make this? I couldn't even remember when I made it, because I probably made it in about an hour, just late at night, all at once. And then a couple days later, I set up my mic and I hit record. What I need, and the words came out of me. I was just having such a good time. Like, it was all completely natural, and that's one of my favorite songs because it just came completely naturally. I obviously had to learn the instruments before. I had to spend a lot of time singing before to be able to sing right. But then once I was able to get past, as Giorgio would say, the notion of music being correct, I was playing and I was making art. And that felt really good. That was the most satisfying feeling, to be done with that song, because it was so good and I had barely put any effort into it. It was mind-blowing. And I read a book recently called The Creative Act, where they said you should do exactly that. Like, you should create an environment and a state of mind where making art is as easy as possible, with as little roadblocks as possible. Only then can you achieve that state of play and achieve that natural sense of creation and art. Now, not everything has to be like that. I think a lot of good art gets made by, other means, but at least for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, playing is how you make good art. And that's what I did when I was coming home from school and I would set up dominoes. I was just playing around. Even though it wasn't totally original content, I guess I was kind of playing around. I made stop motion animations too back then. I didn't upload any of them. I was just playing. I was just having a good time. And I think it's also a misconception. I've realized it's a misconception that your art has to be totally original, because nobody's art is ever totally original. You are learning the guitar. How do you learn the guitar? You practice other people's songs on them. You learn other people's techniques. And then you apply those to your own music. Maybe you fiddle around and you discover something on your own that you can add to the grand table. But 90% of art is just people taking their influences and their inspirations and just churning it through their own mind and their own perspective and creating something new out of it. And then that compounds as more people create art off of that and have more unique experiences to add to the table. I heard a quote recently that was like, how did it go? It says, creativity is the art of hiding your influences. When I heard that, I felt called out, because, my entire creative life, I've kind of felt like I'm copying someone else, even when I have not been really copying someone else and been, just taking it from my own mind and my own inspirations and my own dreams, even then I still feel like I'm hiding my influences a little bit, and like I'm not really a true artist. My sister went to a prep school, an art prep school, classical drawing actually, and she told me a lot about the teaching style they had there. Now, in a normal art class, okay, first of all, this art class that she went to, the teachers really drilled into them, you need to stop caring about your own work. It's not your place to have an ego about your work. And the way they would teach this is they would do really quick drawings, really quick sketches, big drawings even, and the teacher would just go up to their student's painting and start erasing it. They would say, no, this isn't correct, or this isn't good, and they would just erase it, and they would draw something else. Sometimes they would erase 80% of the painting and just leave it there. And I guess that kind of teaching style made a lot of students, uncomfortable. It made them cry even, my sister described. But the reasoning was, this practice of classical drawing, this practice of making art, has been around so much longer than you have. And it's going to be around long after you die. You're just a vessel to carry it along. So why do you care about your work so much that you won't let me erase it? It's just a drawing. I think people tend to tie their identities to art a lot. I tie my identity to my songs because they came from me. But they're not really me, if that makes sense. I haven't fully thought this through. This is a work in progress. But I think what they're getting at is like, my art is a product, is a creation of myself that I made. Fuck, I don't know. Cut the video. Cut the fucking video. I think I'm kind of rambling off into a different territory. So I just want to have some final closing thoughts that I want to proclaim to myself, I'm a good artist. And it's what I love to do. I love to make good art. I love to make games. I love to make music. And I think it's the act of loving to just being in the moment and playing and loving and being immersed in what you're creating that makes good art happen. And thinking about what your peers are going to say and thinking about the comments you're going to receive, or the comments I'm going to receive, it almost always stops me in my tracks. I have such a fear of what other people are going to think and what they're going to say that it usually stops me. That it's the number one thing that stops me from making art. And I think that's tragic. Fear is a survival mechanism. I know it's meant to protect me from, danger and whatever. But someone commenting something negative on a video is not danger. It's not a threat to my life. My body just perceives it that way, and I need to get over it somehow if I want to make more art. Anyway. That's all. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.